Good morning. First of all, I want to thank everybody for all the support and all the encouragement and for cheering me on. I have to be honest, there was a moment yesterday when I crossed over I-95 heading east, and I thought I could just turn south here and go home. But it only lasted for a minute. Not even a minute. 5 seconds. But honestly, logging into YouTube and looking at your, reading your comments every day, it keeps me going. So I really appreciate it. Also, I want to reassure anybody who's worried about this heat wave and that I'm sleeping in my car. I want to assure you that I'm staying cool in my Prius and I'm not out here exerting myself in the heat. I'm comfortable, I'm taking it easy, so I'm good. So, I'm already headed toward Canada today, and I'm hoping to cross the border in maybe 3 hours. Today's July 3rd, so I'm hoping to do it before all the 4th of July and the 250th anniversary celebrations start tomorrow. Before all the traffic and the parades and all that stuff. My oldest son was also born on the 4th of July, so it seems a little bit wrong to be leaving a day ahead of all that, but I'll tell you why. But before I do that, I'll say happy birthday, Chris, my baby, my first baby. I keep seeing all these signs in all these little towns saying expect 4th of July traffic, expect traffic delays, road closed on 4th of July for parade, etc., etc. So I'm honestly just kind of feeling like I'm ready to get out of the United States before all that hits, because I just want to get away from crowds and people. I'm actually a couple of days ahead of the itinerary that I had planned out for myself, knowing it was going to be flexible. But, the more I thought about it, it started getting harder to find places to stay. And I'm seeing the traffic pick up on the roads as they get closer to the coast. And I just want to get away from people. So I'm going to leave the United States on July 3rd, the day before the 250th celebration. You know where there won't be a parade tomorrow? Do you know where there won't be fireworks tomorrow? Canada. So today is July 3rd, 2026. It's my 6th day on the road on this trip, and I'm going to be crossing the border into Canada. And I'm just a little bit nervous about crossing the Canadian border because I've never done it before. So I want to make sure that I've got all my P's and Q's in a row, if that makes sense.
Hello, bonjour.
Hello.
Where do you live?
North Carolina.
Roll down the back window. So what is the purpose of your trip?
I'm going camping in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Probably 16 days.
Okay. Do you have any alcohol, tobacco, cannabis product?
No.
Any firearms?
No.
Other weapon, pepper spray, mace?
No.
You're all set.
Thank you. Hello, bonjour. That was it. So I got a room in New Brunswick in, I don't even know if it's a town, a place called Pokalogan. There's a restaurant and a motel. Well, this motel's got like 5 rooms. I'm in number 3. First of all, let me just say it's very, very neat and clean. And I don't mind the old, vintage charm at all. I come in and the windows and the doors are all open and the fan's blowing, and I realized there's no air conditioning in here. Luckily, just in the last few miles from where I left St. Stephen's, where I crossed the border to here, it's down to like 78 degrees outside. And the weather app says it's going to be down in the high 50s here tonight. So I can deal with no air conditioning because the humidity's low, and it actually feels pretty pleasant in here right now. Let me show you the back, the view, okay? I have a little porch. And there's the Bay of Fundy. And there's a nice breeze blowing. And there's a restaurant right there that has great reviews on Google. Basic seafood. And I think the man that owns and runs this is Greek. I read that on the Google reviews, and what I've observed kind of goes along with that. When I got here, he had a little notebook with his handwriting in it. And he didn't have me down because he hadn't checked Orbitz, which is where I made my reservation. But he had room for me, luckily. The thing is, there's no Wi-Fi here. There's no internet. There's no data signal. No data signal, no internet, no air conditioning. So, do I stay or do I go? Honestly, I think I'm going to stay because I'm really tired. I didn't sleep well last night, and I just laid on this little bed with the fan blowing on me, and I could hear the birds, and it's so quiet here, and I think I'm just going to chill. Also, if I decide to go up there and have dinner at the restaurant, I'll let you know how that was. It's not hot in here. I'm surprised. If I had known 30 minutes ago that this place had no internet and no air conditioning, I would have just kept driving. And I don't think Orbitz said anything about the no air conditioning thing. And honestly, they usually probably don't need it. And even right now, it's not bad in here at all. It's not bad. I'm pretty comfy. It's just not air conditioning, but it's a breeze and it's not that hot. And it's going to cool down really quick when the sun goes down. But I had planned on getting some editing, which I might still be able to do that. I had planned on trying to get some work done. Oh my gosh. I was like, I'll have hours this evening. I can sit, and I've got some work-related stuff I need to do. And I don't have to do it tonight, and I don't have to do it this week, but I have to do it by the end of this month, and I thought tonight would be a good night to sit with some air conditioning and Wi-Fi and do that. And that's not going to happen. I think I'm going to stay. It's an experience. All is right with the world again. I went and I had dinner. So this place is called the Bay Breeze Restaurant and Motel. The food, I had some scallops, some local scallops, and instead of fries, I wanted a side salad. And they have Greek salads because I think the owner's Greek, so I had a Greek salad on the side, and it was so good. And I sat out on the deck of the restaurant, and as I started noticing turbulence in the water, and then I started noticing rocks that weren't there when I sat down. So the tide's going out on the Bay of Fundy. And also, Bay Breeze is not just a clever name. The breeze is coming off the bay now, and it's still hot in my room, but it is almost chilly out there on my porch. The breeze is coming right off the water, and it is so nice. I just talked to my son, who's going to be 37 years old tomorrow. I called him because I wasn't sure if I was going to be in a place with a cell signal tomorrow. And he said it was like 99 degrees there today, and the heat index was 114. So I had to apologize for leaving them all there, although I wouldn't have brought them with me anyway. But, always being the mom, I kind of felt guilty that they're all back home where it's hot as hell, and I'm up here getting cool finally. So I'm going to sleep just fine in this room. I've got my fan. I got the back door open, blowing the breeze into the room to cool it off in here. I had a great dinner. It's going to be nice and cool. I realized that it's not just this place that doesn't have air conditioning. The restaurant didn't have air conditioning. And when I looked on, and finally also, the 5G signal decided to show up. So I don't have Wi-Fi, but I do have a 5G signal now. So I have a cool breeze and a 5G signal, and I'm happy. I'm glad I stayed. I'm really glad I stayed here. I've got some places marked on my map for tomorrow. I think I'm going to be sticking on the New Brunswick side of the Bay of Fundy and I'm going to try to stay right on the water for the next couple of days because the temperatures everywhere else, literally everywhere else, even in Nova Scotia, inland, and even in Halifax. I looked up the temperature in Halifax, Nova Scotia today when I was complaining about the 78 degrees here, and it was 90 degrees in Halifax. So I'm going to stick around here on this side of the bay for a couple of days because I even used that little Gemini thing on the Google and asked it to help me find the coolest spot in my general area for the next couple of days while I ride out this heat wave. And it said that right where I am is actually the coolest place on the East Coast right now. So I'm glad I stayed here. I'm really glad I stayed here. I've got 16 days before my reservation from Yarmouth to Bar Harbor on the Cat Ferry. So if I decide to wait until I can take the ferry back to Bar Harbor, I've got 16 days in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. So I've got a couple of days to spare. I'm going to stick around here where it's cool, and then this heat is going to be lifting, and then I can go ahead and move inland, or I can go ahead and move on to points beyond and into Nova Scotia and not worry about chasing the cool breeze. That beach right there was not there when I got here. And I know that that's not all that impressive. But I'm still on the south end of the Bay of Fundy. So the tides are more extreme the farther east and north I go. Good morning. This is just lovely. I kind of don't want to leave. I slept really great, and at about 1:30 in the morning, a light streaming through the blinds woke me up. It shined in my eyes, and I thought, what the world? It was the moon. So I got up and tried to capture a little video of what I saw. The gibbous moon on the water of the Bay of Fundy. It was really nice. So I feel blessed that I got to stay here. It was nice and cool. It was a good breeze. I ended up using a blanket. It's a rustic little roadside place run by one man and I guess a helper. He has a restaurant and 5 rooms, and he's Greek, I think, and probably doesn't stay here all year. Really cool place, and if I ever come back up this way, I'll stay here again. This is not a hotel review video or channel, so I'll stop with that. But I got a shower again. I got one last night, got one now. And I'm heading on up the road to St. John this morning, and then I'm going to find a place to park for the day and possibly the night. First time getting gas in Canada. I'm going to have to do the math. I missed the low tide this morning, but the tide's on the way back in. But I found this beach just south of north, I don't know, near St. John. I'll walk out here for a little bit. This is just like a public beach. Seems to be a lot of locals here. It's a Saturday. It's a Saturday in Canada. Happens to be the 4th of July, but nobody cares about that. Anyway, I'll walk around out here. See what I can find off the Bay of Fundy. And I chose this spot because apparently this is like the coolest temperature-wise area today, and it is a balmy 71 degrees down here. In fact, it feels even cooler by the water. I'm kind of chilly, and the rest of the East Coast, and especially at home, are roasting today. Little buddy. Let's put you by the water. I'm sitting on the beach, Mispec Beach, and it's about 45 minutes before low tide and about 30 minutes before sunset, maybe. They're roughly around the same time. So, a couple things that I've been pondering today. I'm a sensitive soul, and part of what keeps me on edge and tense when I leave home is the fact that there are mean people around every corner. And I don't mean bad people that are gonna do something to hurt me. I just mean mean people that honk at you in traffic and flip you off and yell, and obnoxious loud people that don't have respect for the people around them, that kind of thing. And I'm noticing a big lack of that in Canada. So I did a little research, and it's a cultural thing. Of course, in America, and here it is, the 4th of July, but American culture highlights individualism, and it is very socially, how do I say, I don't want to say obnoxious, but people want to exert their individualism a lot in America, and there's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of times people do that to the detriment of other people or without regard to other people, where Canadian culture is built around collaboration and being polite and community and making life easier for your fellow man. Hence Canada's universal healthcare system. But you can just see it out in public. I've been into the grocery store 3 times since I've been here. Since I got to Canada yesterday. There's no loud people. People say, please, thank you, excuse me, sorry if they're in your way. There's just this culture of people being nice to each other. And that really, I like that. As a sensitive person who tries to be nice to other people and who tries to take other people into account, I try not to be too loud and all that. I feel like I fit in better. And see, just like I said, there's people walking by and my voice just got lower. I like Canada so far. It seems really easy. I'm sure there's mean and bad people, and I'm sure there are bad things that happen. I know there are. It's just the vibe. I've used that word a lot this trip, haven't I? But the vibe is nice. Good morning. I had a great night's sleep in this free parking lot by the beach, and there were other campers here. And honestly, I could stay here for a couple more days and be perfectly happy. But it's nice this morning. It's like 64 degrees. The tide is out. But the thing is, I know that I've got a lot more really cool things to see, so I'm going to be moving on. So I just left St. Martin's, which was a very adorable place by the sea. As soon as I left the St. John's area, I started heading north and east. The landscape seemed a little different, like more mountainy, more big alpine type trees, just really pretty. And then St. Martin's on the bay it was a big tourist destination, but very adorable. And the sea caves in St. Martin's, the parking lot was full, and I didn't really feel like walking anyway. So I continued on to the scenic Fundy trail, which is a drive that I'm going to be taking today, and there's a ton of overlooks and things. So I'm going to be doing that, and I don't know where I'm going to end up tonight. It's really pretty out here. I want to tell y'all something. This morning I woke up and I was kind of struggling. And I was near the St. Martin's. I was parked at the Sea Caves, St. Martin's, and it's Sunday, and it was really crowded, and I just didn't feel it. I didn't want to get out of the car, so I didn't. And I was kind of making some notes to myself. And I was thinking, the planning for this trip was a lot more fun than the actual trip is. And I'm not saying I'm not having fun, but this is just how I was feeling this morning. But anyway, I like the small towns. I like driving. My favorite parts of the trip are driving, and especially scenic parkways like this one, where I can stop and see a beautiful scene and then just keep going. I'm tired. The Prius is a trusty little vehicle, and I love her, but it is cramped in there. So I don't feel like I have a place where I can just relax and hang out. Not my own space, just public spaces. And so anyway, I was feeling that way, and I came out on this parkway and I went down to a waterfall, and I'm wearing this t-shirt. You may see it in a glimpse of it. I don't want to really show it, but it's got the name of my town right on the front of it and on the back. And then some people just came up, so I felt like I had to get back in the car. But what I was saying was, I was just struggling this morning, and so I stopped. I'm on the scenic Fundy trail, and I stopped at this waterfall overlooked, and there were cable stairs down to the overlook, and I was down. I made it down there, and there was a family down there, and the man said, "Are you from North Carolina?" And for a second, I didn't know why he knew that, but then I remembered the shirt. And I said, yes. And he's like, us too. And he told me where they were from, which was farther out in the western part of the state where the mountains are. And he said, I know where that is. I go through there going to the beach. And he said, it's really good to run into somebody out here, because he said, we feel really out of place with the way we talk. And I said, oh yeah, I get that. Because every time I open my mouth, I feel like everybody knows I'm not from here. So he said, well, I'll tell you what I tell other people. God has a southern accent. And when we get to heaven, God is going to sound like us. And I don't know why, but that made me chuckle, and it made me feel a little better. And I think it kind of pulled me out of my funk. And I'm going to enjoy the rest of this day now.